How's it going, Rogues Gallery, and welcome to another Flesh and Blood video here on Red Zone Rogue. Today, we are finally talking about Everfest. I can't believe I haven't actually done a video on Everfest yet, even though James White kind of revealed it or officially confirmed it here on the channel in our interview, and it's something that I just really want to talk about. This is not my official top 5 predictions. This is just kind of like talking about my expectations for it and maybe just some random stuff about it that I think it's going to be interesting or that I think that could be in it, or just stuff like that outside of like officially predicting things. Before we get started, I do want to give a couple shout outs. One is a big sponsor of this channel, Channel Fireball. I do have an affiliate link with Channel Fireball. You can go and type Rogue at checkout. If you have not checked out their new marketplace, it actually is very similar to like TCG Player, where you can buy directly from local game stores. So you're not exactly supporting Channel Fireball, you're going to be supporting these local game stores, and I think that is excellent, and using that code also goes and supports me. So if you're looking to pick up any pre-orders for Everfest, go ahead and check out their marketplace and maybe pick a couple up. Though I will say, and this is going to get into a little bit of the discussion here, I would not buy any pre-orders if they are well over MSRP. Let me put it that way. I felt fairly comfortable buying some myself at about $100 a box, right? That's what I feel comfortable with. I don't know how comfortable I would be buying them at more than that. And by I don't know how comfortable, I mean I'm not going to be buying any at more than $100. I don't know if that's good advice, because this is not a financial channel. It's just where I personally am and what I personally feel comfortable with buying. I don't feel comfortable buying over $100 for this, because we saw Tales of Aria was fairly plentiful, and I expect this to be somewhat similar, though who knows, it might not be. But I do know some people are pre-selling them at $100 a box. I will also say only pre-order from trusted sources. A good rule of thumb just in general is if you see a deal that's too good to be true, it probably is. It's probably too good to be true. So anyway, let's start talking about the actual set and not about buying Everfest or whatever. So I'm really excited for Everfest, like really, really excited for Everfest. I loved Crucible of War. I thought it was one of the most underrated sets when it first came out, and I think Everfest is going to follow a similar pattern. Not be underrated, but have that level of enjoyment for me. It's kind of like a little treasure trove, and I think that's what Everfest is going to be. I think there's going to be a lot of really exciting, cool new things in the set. In Crucible of War, we had a bunch of weapons, and we had a bunch of equipment and heroes, and I do expect to see a lot of that returning. Not the same ones, right? But that kind of vibe where we have like a nice little arsenal of goodies to play with. Not necessarily weapons and armor, though I think we can see some of those, but I do think we will see new heroes. And I think it's a pretty shoo-in that we see new heroes. I mean, first of all, Legend Story Studios always greatly surprises me with every new set. They always come up with something that's super, super surprising. Like, I wasn't really surprised at the talent system, because I knew they'd be doing something, game-changing, and I even predicted something similar to the talent system, but Brute in particular, like Shadow Brute, I did not see that one coming. And then for Aria, Runeblade, no one saw Runeblade coming. Not in a million years, no one saw Runeblade, especially in an Aria set. So they always do something crazy and completely unexpected, and then I expect them to do something unexpected here in Everfest. But I do expect to see heroes. So I do expect to see heroes. I expect them all to be new heroes, not any rehashing of older heroes. As much as I would love like an adult Kasai or an adult Kavdane or whatever, I don't think we're going to see that here. I think we're just going to see new heroes. Now, the real question for me is, do I think they're going to be adult heroes or young heroes? And I think that's going to be very interesting, because in Crucible of War, we had all young heroes. And so they could follow that pattern, right? They can just be young heroes, or they could be adult heroes and focus more on Classic Constructed. And so it's very interesting. It all depends on what kind of flavor they want for the set, right? I have a feeling, because it's a carnival, because it's a festival, I have a feeling there's going to be some wacky, goofy mechanics, some really fun mechanics that they can't put in main sets, that they're going to put in this set to, accentuate the fact that it's a carnival or a festival. And that could be shown through some heroes. And if it is shown through those heroes, I expect them to be young heroes, because young heroes are where a lot of people have experimentation with decks and stuff through Blitz and through Ultimate Pit Fight. the most underrated format in Flesh and Blood. Ultimate Pit Fight is super underrated and a ton of fun. And I think it's the premier casual format of the game. Mark my words, give it a couple of years. Ultimate Pit Fight, the premier casual format for Flesh and Blood, unless they do like a PvE thing, but we'll see. I have thoughts on that. We'll see. I do think that they will do a PvE thing eventually. But for Everfest, I think the fact that it's going to be like, or at least I think it lends itself to be like a really fun, goofy set, I think makes sense that there will be like fun, goofy heroes. And it seems like a good place to put something like a bard, right? Like that's kind of the shoe-in, but once again, Legend Story Studios always surprises me. Maybe no bard. Maybe alchemist? Ooh, alchemist. And I think alchemist does make sense, right? Maybe there's a potion seller at the the Everfest. But I do expect to see some crazy stuff. Alchemist, bard, and then maybe some cool, interesting takes on other heroes. The really interesting thing, will those heroes have talents? I don't know. Yeah, it's hard to say. My gut says no, right? But it all depends on if they put support for the talents in the set. It doesn't directly correlate because it's not a draftable set. You know, it's just a supplemental set. It's not meant for draft. But I think they could put talents in the set, or they might not. I guess it depends on the angle they want to go with. I hope that they don't, and I hope that they just focus on class cards to boost up all of the classes rather than to boost up only the classes that have talents, right? So for example, if we get some sweet ranger cards, well, at least Azalea can use them, right? But if they're like elemental cards, well, that only includes like 3 heroes, and they're like very specific elemental stuff. So maybe there is very specific things for specific heroes, maybe some specializations. I actually think it would be awesome, like actually awesome, if every single hero got a new specialization. How rad would that be? And I mean every hero, like Cavdane, Shiana, Benji, KO, every hero, the Data Doll. I hope all of them get a specialization. That would be rad, like super cool. And I hope they're at like Majestic or something like that, so they can be real spicy. And there's like a bunch of Majestics in the set, so that makes a lot of sense to me. I hope the legendaries, so we already know the Arcanite Skullcap is getting reprinted. I hope the other legendaries are flashy but not super strong, and I hope they're kind of generic-y. We'll see. Maybe that's where the heroes are. Like maybe it'll be Skullcap and then like 2 legendary heroes. I mean, who knows? Maybe Bard will be a legendary hero. I don't know. But I still think it'll be interesting. So one thing I really do want to see, and I think it'll be really fun, and I think there's a good chance we see this, are carnival games, as you can see here with Bravo doing some arm wrestling at the Everfest. This is actually on the back of an alpha artist proof of Buckling Blow by Nathaniel Himawan, and he did some really cool stuff, and this really got me thinking, you know, carnival games, right? So here we have Bravo going down for some arm wrestling. I always thought it would be really cool to have Bravo plus someone else doing some arm wrestling. A lot of folks are like Bravo and Oldham. I would love to see Bravo and like Bolton. That would be really cool. But I just think carnival games in general is so much fun. Just think of the possibilities. You can have like Lexi and Azalea at like a darts throwing or an archery competition. There's tons of possibilities. So I think it could be really cool. Like maybe like Kasai versus Dorinthia doing like fencing, or maybe you can have like a new illusionist doing like a really cool illusion-y stage show of cool, you know, monsters or whatever. There's so many possibilities. I think it's gonna be a ton of fun, like an absolute blast, and I'm really looking forward to it. I'm really looking forward to how deep they go on the theme of Everfest. My hopes are that it's just all in on Everfest and it's just one big cool carnival thing. One very interesting thing is that extra specific slot in the booster packs that I think it's called like the carnival slot or the festival slot or whatever. That's going to be really interesting to see what it is. Maybe it's an extra chance at a Majestic. Maybe it's an extra chance at an alt art. Maybe it's something super weird like a physical ticket that you can redeem. It could be a lot of things. I think baseline, like bottom level, is just like it's a extra chance to roll at another, you know, Majestic or higher. So maybe you can get like 2 legendaries or whatever in a pack. Or it could be like reprints. I don't think it's going to be that, but it could be like reprints. I would love to see alt art versions of cards, which would be super cool. Seems a little expensive to do. That's a lot of art to commission, but either way, I think this cool like extra little carnival pack slot thing is going to be a lot of fun, and it's going to make opening Everfest an absolute blast. And I talked about it a little bit at the start of the show about like my pre-orders. Personally, I'm going to be ordering around 20 boxes, right? That's kind of where I land for my own personal needs. I don't keep any of them sealed. I either open them all for the channel, give them to patrons, or just open them for my personal collection. Most of it's for my collection to have play sets so I can play with all the cards and make all decks, and so I can play with the decks and do deck techs and all that kind of stuff. So that's where I'm landing on it. I know 18 boxes is a lot, but that's kind of where I'm at with Flesh and Blood and the channel, you know. I'm very curious to know how many boxes people out there are going to be getting and how many that you really want for a set. I think a couple is reasonable, and then just buying singles, but I just want to get all the things. I want to get all the things to play some decks. And I think this is really going to shake things up, especially for Blitz, because I do expect to see a lot of young heroes. Oh, again, another thing. I really want to see multiplayer specific cards. This is gonna be the best place to put them. Not just for like PvE stuff, because I know a lot of folks are talking about like PvE, even though it's totally not confirmed. It's 100% speculation. But I do think multiplayer stuff would be very fun for, like I said, the most underrated format in Flesh and Blood, Ultimate Pit Fight. And what I believe to be the premier casual format for Flesh and Blood. You can have a lot of fun with Ultimate Pit Fight, especially if you kind of introduce your own rules into it. That's a whole other video, introducing like a point system and that kind of stuff. Kind of like how the Star City Games Commander Versus guys do it, where you have objectives, and certain objectives are worth points. And this is something that I've been toying around with Ian and some other guys, and you may see something like this in the future, as you know, in a video form. But I think Ultimate Pit Fight is fantastic and super underrated, and a set like Everfest is the best place to put cards for that. So I hope to see multiplayer focused cards more than just stuff like Coke's Commotion. Coke's Commotion is fantastic. Gorganian Tome is fantastic for this kind of stuff. I want to see more of that kind of stuff. Give me more of that kind of stuff. I also want to see, I'm waffling here. I was gonna say I want to see silver bullet cards. Then I was like, maybe I don't. But I kind of do. I do want to see silver bullet cards for very, very strong strategies. Specifically like the hyper aggro stuff. The problem with that is that these sets are made way in advance, and they get printed way in advance. So there's not going to be anything specifically for Briar, for example, right? Because it was made and printed way, way, way before, you know, Briar became the big boogeyman of Flesh and Blood. So I hope to see some stuff that are like silver bullets against certain strategies, like general strategies. I also hope to see very, very powerful effects for really underpowered heroes. Like I hope Azalea gets like a super sweet card. That's why I want these specializations, by the way, so they can make a hyper-focused card for a hero that's like not very well played, or not played very often. That's not super great. So like a really sweet like Datadol card or something, or a really sweet Azalea card, or you know, no, I was gonna say Kano, but Kano's actually really scary. And I think the next set that we get Wizard stuff, I think Kano's just gonna get even scarier. So I'm a little cautious about Kano and Wizard, because if you push it too much, it's gonna get gross real fast. If you think Briar is bad, imagine Kano on like steroids. Oh, oh no, where your opponent just takes like a 20-minute turn and kills you, like on your own turn, right? So Kano's tricky. Wizard and Kano are both really tricky. You have to be careful with that kind of stuff. But I really want to see specializations for all the heroes. They have said that there's going to be support for every hero, so I don't know what that means. That could mean a lot of stuff. I expect it to be kind of like Crucible, where you have like a little pool of class cards for all the classes. I'm really excited to see Illusionist stuff, right? Because we don't have a lot of Illusionist cards. Just the small amount that we got in Monarch. I actually want to see Illusionist in another main set, so we have more, like way more Illusionist cards. Getting a generic Illusionist and a whole bunch of Illusionist stuff would be awesome. but I don't think there's enough illusionist cards to even make a generic illusionist. But we also have Shiana and Cavdane, who can only play generic cards anyway, so who knows? Who knows? So yeah, those are my thoughts on Everfest. I think it's going to be an absolute blast. I think it's going to be a set that people, well, I was going to say, I feel like people are going to really like it. You know, with all this extra cool stuff for the meta, or at least hopefully some cool stuff for the meta, with like this extra little fun slot in the booster pack, like the carnival or festival slot in the booster pack. And I hope it just to be like a really, really fun time. On the non-game side of things, I hope it is widely available enough so that everyone can buy them at MSRP, like a booster box at MSRP or around MSRP if they want to. That's my hope. I want people to just, if you play the game and all you care about is playing the game, I hope you're just able to get a box. Like, hey, I want a box of Everfest. Go down to your local game store, or if you don't have a local game store, because I know a lot of people comment on my videos saying they don't have one. I feel for you. I've lived in a place that hasn't had that before. You just go online and pick it up at MSRP. I hope that's the reality. Because, you know, here on Red Zone Rogue, I'm for the players of the game. I do respect collectors, and I do understand the importance of investors in card games. I think they're all very important. But personally, I play these games, and I want people to play. I want people to play the games, and so I want people to be able to do that. And having the cheaper boxes facilitates that. I know people also want to talk about reprints. I would love to see reprints personally, not too much because I don't want the set to be watered down in reprints. I think future sets, like if they just make a World of Wraith Volume 1 or something like that, where it's just all reprints, I think that's the best place to put them. But it would be cool to see some other ones. I know people always talk about Command and Conquer. I know we are getting Arcanite Skullcap. I honestly don't expect to see Command and Conquer. As much as it would be cool, especially with an alternate artwork, flavor-wise it doesn't make sense, though who knows, maybe it doesn't need to make sense, right? But also, I just kind of think they're not going to do that. We'll see. Maybe they do. Maybe they do. That'd be great. Maybe they'll do, and it'll be cheaper, and everyone can buy it and play with their Command and Conquers if they need to. But I expect to see that in more of a, like I said, World of Wraith Volume 1 or something like that. That's where I expect to see most of the reprints that people want. And I probably don't expect to see a set like that for another year, basically. So we'll see. Who knows? We'll see. That's my opinions on the reprints. If there's none in the set other than Arcanite Skullcap, I will not be surprised at all. The only other thing that I want to touch base on a little bit is the paper wrapper packaging. I made a video on it, and there's a lot of people who raise concerns about it, like damaging cards or whatever. And I'm with you. I don't want it to damage the cards. Hopefully they've gotten it to a point where they're basically the same as the plastic wrappers, but just paper. That's obviously my hopes, that they're just the same as the plastic wrappers, but paper. Same with longevity, you know, being able to keep the cards sealed or whatever. Hopefully they've gotten to a point where that's a possibility. So that's kind of like my quick thoughts on that, because that was like a major concern raised by a lot of people, and I understand, totally understand. I have all these cards because I want to play with them, but I also, you know, want them to be nice, you know, like nice things. So, and I do have a bunch of boxes sealed, not for investment purposes, but to do videos on in the future. And if they don't last very well, like if I keep a box for a couple years and then, you know, 4 years down the road, like if I open up a box and the cards are all like crap, not going to be fun to play with. So yes, I'm with you. So I got my fingers crossed that it works all out, and it's just literally the same. I hope it's just literally the same, just with paper, and you can just recycle it if you can do that reasonably. Anyway, those are my thoughts on Everfest, or at least my initial thoughts on Everfest. I am super excited for this set. I think it's going to be a ton of fun. I cannot wait until, what is it, January? It's only like a month or so away. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. I'm going to do something really fun for the spoiler video, just like I did for the Tales of Aria spoiler video. I have some ideas already, but I guess I have to see what my card is before I kind of get into that. I also want to say that I kind of want to do something really fun for like the holiday season, so maybe expect a really fun gameplay video with some other content creators for that. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time for some more Flesh and Blood content. Have a good one all. See you later.